Hello, health sciences students. This is Dean Marceau here with a bit of an update for you as we progress into the week of April 6th under our COVID-19 new way of living. So would first like to thank all of you for helping us transition our traditional college courses to an online delivery format of all different makes and models and hybrids and everything else. We're doing as much as we possibly can do online to keep you guys on track, and we appreciate you engaging and helping us to adjust to this new environment and adapting as we do, sort of a little under fire. But that's okay because we are meant to do this so that we can help each other finish up. So I wanted to spend a little time today talking about next steps. So we are putting as much as we possibly can online for you to access. Some of it is in the form of live lectures through Microsoft Teams or through Zoom or whatever model will work to help all of you be in a class and have a discussion as if you were together live in our classroom. And then for those of you who cannot view that in real time, it's recorded for you as well. We are trying to work with every student where they are as much as we possibly can. But we greatly appreciate those of you who are just trying to adapt to whatever we put together in the real time that we have, so that you can stay on track as much as possible. So we have done that. We've also purchased a ton of virtual reality online simulation courses for the majority of our health sciences programs. But I would like to kind of do a little bit of a rundown of where we are on some things, because as you know, in health sciences, we answer to a ton of regulatory bodies. And we have to make sure that we're meeting all of those needs. We are also under a stay-at-home order from the governor. But what I don't know if you realize is that health sciences in general have been exempted from that stay-home order as essential personnel, and that's inclusive of health science students who are trying to finish and get out so that they can enter the workforce, as well as those trying to stay on track, because when this COVID-19 crisis has passed, we will still require healthcare workers like crazy in the field. So we need to try to keep all of you on track, those of you who are supposed to be getting out in May, as well as those of you who are just supposed to be progressing on from May, so that we can graduate you all on time and make sure that you enter that workforce where you're so sorely needed. In doing this, there are some things that have come up, whether it's a regulatory body issue, like the Board of Nursing or the LDH for CNA, or NHA for MA. There are a lot of regulatory bodies we deal with. So we have to deal with what they are saying and deliver the classes the way that they will allow, as well as trying to meet the needs of our public and our communities and to keep you on track to get your completion. So in looking at all of that, there are some things we cannot do completely 100% online. So to talk a little bit about that, I want to try to talk about the programs that are okay the way they are. And Vet Tech has always been a primarily online course. And we have been working with that regulatory board so that if there are skills we cannot complete in person this semester, and you are not a graduating senior, we're able to move some of that content to the next semester. So we're working with that board on that. On the Board of Pharmacy, there are some simulations that are being allowed, and we've purchased some of those things for you. And you will be getting some of that information from Ms. Lee coming forward for CNA, MA, and PCT. We answer to two different regulatory bodies for the testing of that. And one of them, CNA, has traditionally been done since last July through Prometric testing, which is a third-party tester. LDH has put that on hold and is allowing us to do our own testing, but we still have to do the skills testing validation in person as a demonstration that we view. So those are students that will need to come on campus to finish testing, and we have been working on that, and I'm going to go into that in greater detail in just a minute. MA students have to test as well, proctored, but the NHA is working on a way to proctor that from the computers at home, if you have that connectivity and that capability with a webcam and a lockdown browser. Once they come out with which program they're using, we will figure out who can and can't do that from home, and those who cannot, we will need to bring on campus in small groups for testing. And then the PN programs. Many of you are qualified to be CNAs now since you finished the first semester in the fall. And we have asked if those folks would like to test, and many of them would. So we can test the written portion of CNA testing on Canvas. And once you pass that, we can schedule you in small groups to come in and complete the skills validation to complete your CNA certification. So that would be our traditional students as well as our high school dual enrollment students and our PN students who are qualified after one semester under their belt to get certified as a CNA and who have requested to be tested to do that. So CDYC at this time, there's no need for you to come on campus. We've been able to do most everything for CDYC as online delivery. So let's go back and talk about small groups of people who will be coming on campus and what we need you to know. So we have been heavy at work putting very, very stringent processes and protocols in place for bringing students on campus in small groups so that we can stay as safe as possible and keep everybody with all of the COVID-19 restrictions and guidances, even beyond what's asked of us, which is physical distancing and making sure that we wash hands and use hand sanitizer and use masks and, you know, make sure we're sanitizing everything anybody touches. So we have been putting together very stringent protocols for our maintenance and custodial crews, our instructors, and you, our students. And so I was going to try to at least now go over with you what those stringent protocols are so that if you're one of the students that needs to come in to the campus in small groups to test, you'll know exactly what's expected of you. So I'm going to share my screen for a minute. You know, our goal is to just try to keep touch contamination and any transmission down as much as possible as we do physical distancing and good housekeeping. So we have been working with the maintenance crew and the custodial staff on exactly what they need to do before you arrive. And then I'm going to go through with you what you're expected to do prior to arrival and during arrival and time on our campuses, and let you know exactly what we're doing. So I'm going to share my screen for a second to just show you what is expected of you. So this is our student protocol for when you're coming on campus to do training and testing. So the first thing that you need to do is call 60 minutes prior to your scheduled time. If you are contacted by your instructor to say, hey, we're scheduling you to test at this time on this campus, you need to call the administrative assistant, and they're listed here for which campus it is by campus, to do your self-screen. And I'm going to show you now on your screen what the self-screen entails. You need to answer these questions to the administrative assistants. Do you have a fever? Do you have a cough? Are you short of breath? If any of those things are a yes, we need to get more details. Have you traveled in the past 14 days? Have you been in contact with anyone who has been diagnosed with COVID-19? And have you been in contact with anyone who's had a cough, shortness of breath, or fever in the past 14 days? If you answer yes to any of these, a larger discussion will take place, and likely your instructor will become involved. If you answer no to all of those things, then you're going to be told to go ahead and proceed to campus as scheduled by your instructor. The administrative assistant will then text your instructor to let them know that you're coming, that you've been cleared to come. When you come on campus, do not bring any personal items into the building. This includes your phone, your book sack, your purse, etc. Either leave those things at home or in your personal vehicle. Please do not bring children to the campus. Only a student who is testing is going to be allowed to come into the campus. You're going to wear your scrubs and make sure your hair is pulled back and up, just as if you're going to a clinical site. At the door, you'll be let into the building by a faculty member. You will get hand sanitizer to use and be given a mask that you need to don immediately. They'll take your temperature with a tympanic thermometer and make sure you're not running fever greater than 99.8. If all of that is fine, then you'll be escorted to the designated hand washing station where you will perform excellent hand washing and don some gloves. The whole time you will be continued to wear your mask. Please make sure to avoid or limit the use of the restrooms. We're trying to keep any touch surfaces contamination down. So we want to make sure you only go to the stations you have to go to. And if you can use the bathroom before you come, that's ideal to not have to go to the bathroom during the time that you're on campus. If you do have to, certainly we will make accommodations for you to use the restroom, but we need to monitor exactly where you go in the campus so that we can clean all areas behind you effectively. So during the testing time, you'll be given instructions. You'll have to make sure that you stay aware of what you're touching. You should never touch your face, even with your mask on. If the instructor sees you touch your face, you'll be asked to change your gloves, rewash your hands, and reapply new gloves. The gloves are to make sure you're cognizant of what it is you're touching. Once your testing is completed, you'll remove your gloves, you'll wash your hands, you'll be escorted to the door, you'll remove your mask and place it in a designated bin, use hand sanitizer, and exit the building. I am telling you that you should be, and if you are not at this point, making sure that when you go home, whether you've gone to the grocery, the gas station, or any essential thing that you're doing, you should strip at the door and put your clothes directly in the wash because you don't know what has touched your clothing. And so we're asking you to do the same thing. Wear your clean laundered scrubs to the school for your testing. And then the minute you leave school and go home, you take all of that off at the door and put it right into your washer. And that way we can, all feel comfortable with the fact that none of us are bringing anything home, whether it's from the grocery, the gas station, or school. So you will come in and you will come into a designated door. For instance, at Sullivan, it's the door that's on the health sciences hallway, not the main door. On Hammond campus, it will be the door on the student parking lot side, not the student services side. So we have this worked out so we can limit where you're going in the building to get to where you need to go so that we can keep the cleanliness absolutely down to a science. So you'll be escorted to your testing station, whether it's a computerized test or a handwritten test, or your skills lab station, and you will not wander from that area at all while you're there. Your instructor will be with you and they will know exactly where you're going. And you will be very distanced from any other student and your instructor as much as possible. You will both be wearing masks, you and your instructor, to make sure primarily that you keep your own secretions to yourself. Because when you're talking, as you know, sometimes spit happens and it winds up on a surface. Well, it's going to be hard for your instructor to monitor that to make sure we clean all those surfaces. So wearing a mask is a good way to ensure you keep your secretions to yourself and that surfaces don't become contaminated that you're actually not touching, but you might be spewing. So we want to make sure that we do that. And now the president and Dr. Fauci and all of those folks at the top of CDC are recommending that people wear masks when they leave to keep their own secretions to themselves, not to prevent you from getting the disease from someone else, but by preventing you from spewing any contaminants onto surfaces around you. So I just wanted to let you know, we will have masks for you. At our campuses that have washer and dryer, we will have fabric masks because that's enough to keep your secretions to yourself. And then we can sanitize them in hot water in the wash in between days. So that is the procedure for you. We have a complete full procedure for maintenance and custodial staff before you come and after you leave. And we have constant protocols for your instructors to follow while you're there, before you come and after you leave. So we have planned this extremely well. For the most part, groups of 3 or 4 students at a time will be on campus at one time with 3 possibly or 4 instructors, depending on whether it needs to be one-on-one or not. Our goal is to get you in, keep you distanced and safe, keep you clean, and get you out as soon as possible, while still accomplishing the task that we need to do to get you effectively tested or progressing through your program. So who does this involve? Right now, it is CNA students and our MA and PCT students. We're waiting for NHA to look at those proctor from a distance options this week, and if they don't come up with a satisfactory plan or it's something that you cannot work with because of a lack of equipment or connectivity, then we'll plan for you to come onto campus as well in groups of 3 or 4 to do this testing. Please heed the instructions that you're given, because if you come on campus and you don't follow an instruction to a T, you will be asked to leave because we're going to keep everyone safe. So this is an opportunity to get you certified in CNA, MA, PCT. You're finishing up all your stuff online. The next thing to do is to test to get that certification so you can get out into the workforce. And that's what we want for you. For PN students and Pharm Tech students, you may have some skills that you need to do on campus. that you cannot do and get skills validation done to progress through your program without coming on campus and return demonstrating. There's just no virtual reality way for us to do some of those lab hours. We can do some of it by simulation, but there's some that we just don't have the ability to do. And since many of you have not been in that clinical setting, it's important for us to make sure that you have the skills you need. So we will be bringing some mostly freshman level and some sophomore level students on campus to do skills that we have not completed and cannot effectively complete online. And some Pharm Tech students. But we are first putting our virtual reality simulation modules that we've purchased for all of these programs into place to see what is truly left that we have to do in person on campus. So I just wanted to touch base to let you know what's coming. If you are to test, you will be notified at least 48 hours in advance of the date we plan to test you. But we're going to ask you for flexibility and adaptability here again, because it's a lot of moving parts at a lot of places, a lot of campuses. So a lot of students have to be dealt with on a one-on-one level as to what they have at home, what they can do at home, what they need to come in and do. And we have a lot of instructors. So it's a lot of moving parts. We're going to make sure we do it to the very best of our ability to be safe and to keep everybody well. And we're going to ask you to do your part. So communicate, over communicate with your instructors. Make sure you're asking a lot of questions. For those PN students that do want to do their CNA certification, we're setting up a Canvas course that we're going to put some review materials in, because it's been a little bit since you finished that semester up, just so you can review for the actual test that we give at the state level. And you will be administered that test in that Canvas course. So your instructors have been given your names to me, and Ms. Karenbat is going to be the one who mans that course for us to get everybody CNA Prometric tested, which is not really Prometric because we're doing it this time as soon as we can, and to give you some of the review tools that you'll need to make sure you brush up before you take that test. So we have a great plan in place. Everybody's doing their part. Students, we need you to do your part, and we're here for you. So we're going to make this happen, and we're going to get through this semester and get everybody to stay on track with their programs. And if you have any questions, reach out to your instructor, and we'll make sure that you get some answers. In the meantime, just watch your Canvas courses. Make sure you're communicating. Watch your school email address, because that's how we're going to be communicating with you. And I know many of your instructors are even reaching out by text or whatever to make sure you're staying on track. So please do your part, and we're here to make sure that we can do the best that we can to help you finish to completion or progress to the level that you're supposed to be at. So I hope that this clears up any questions about coming onto campus. We will be doing some of that very shortly, but everyone will be given ample notice so that they can make arrangements, and we'll work with you individually if we need to. All right. Great job so far, health sciences people. Y'all make me very proud. Keep up the great work, and we'll talk soon.